Hello everyone, so welcome back to another video that everyone is currently watching right now. We are today back again on 7th of July over here, but we are actually here to talk about some of little of SNEZHNAYA meta and also more about what's really going to be happening in SNEZHNAYA right after Sandrone release, and also Sandrone herself, because most people already know that Sandrone is a very important character to SNEZHNAYA meta, by the way. And after the C0 R1 polls and etc that we have achieved on Sandrone herself, and how this everything is gonna turn out after this video. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video itself, by the way. Yeah.
So from what we know, like from the lineup of SNEZHNAYA itself, it's very much likely that Sandrone is likely looking at a very strong main DPS itself for SNEZHNAYA itself. Because from what we know is that there's a lot of males coming out, right? But they're not really making them a huge like a main character, because they are kind of the type of game where they prioritize the females as like the main picture itself for the nation itself. So it's not the male, so it's obvious that position, right? But the way that we see it is that, yeah, those males might work as your main DPS replacement, but they're kind of taking the spot over Sandrone itself as a main DPS, because that's the kind of a spot that they're taking right now, according to the leaks right now. What we saw, Valerie and Noi is going to replace Sandrone herself and going to take that spot. Now that is going to be a lot more in the future, by the way. That's most likely mid-half of SNEZHNAYA itself, because Valerie and Noi is not coming out anytime soon. What's happening is that from what we know, current beta leaks, Odette is a pure support in Sandrone's Stellar Swirl or Stellar Conduct team. Like you see over here, this is a team. There's only two spots that you replace. Venti is replaced with Yai, and then the last spot, Sucrose, is replaced with Chi-Chi itself. Now, if you don't want to run Chi-Chi, you can actually run Escoffier. But like what the Gunit guy is mentioning over here, he's one of my good friends over here. He's a very strong meta geek, by the way. So he's extremely good guy in meta. But what he says is kind of true, by the way. Like it's true that you might need Chi-Chi. But one way is that is just the meta. Escoffier actually works really well for most people that know, because like she's a cryo buffer. She does not really entirely provide the stellar conduct buff, and that's the biggest issue. But it's not that Chi-Chi also has this kind of like stellar swirl buff, by the way, like how Sandrone has. Sandrone is a dual reaction DPS, by the way. She has both. She works in both, apparently, stellar conduct and swirl. This is kind of like surprising that more than we know that how strong she is, right? But like, let's just say that you don't need to run Alyosha. I was thinking about running Alyosha, but then now I'm kind of like low on resources after I built up Sandrone. So I don't have enough for two characters. It's probably I have enough just for Odette alone. I have a guaranteed Odette and resources, right? Now, the thing is that you don't really need to build Chi-Chi. I don't have my Chi-Chi built up, by the way. She's pretty low right now. And I don't want to waste my resources, because obviously that Chi-Chi spot is going to get replaced by Saritsa herself. This is very obvious from what we see. It's like starting from after Odette's patch, Odette is likely the only character in 7.0, because the beta does not really show any other character. It's really just Alyosha and Odette. So who else is going to be there? Starting 7.1 to 7.2, it's likely a couple of male characters and Vodianissa. Now, Vodianissa is a Hydro, by the way. She's not going to be in Sandrone's team because Vodianissa is Hydro. And then after that, it's Saritsa. So what the speculation says right now, from what people do mention, it's Saritsa herself. Saritsa herself is the magic over here to this team itself, that we're going to be needing her to be replacing that Chi-Chi spot right there itself. So that means that she's gonna be kind of a character that's like a hybrid Escoffier kind of character that does support capabilities, sustain capabilities, damage dealing capabilities, DPS capabilities, all in one go, like a power hybrid character kind of type. Because it's kind of been like that always in Genshin Impact's Cryo development, and it's been kind of like that. So that means she's going to be a very strong character because it's obvious that Chi-Chi's spot is there. But the other hand about that, where people might be thinking, what about Yai's spot? Now, Yai's only issue with it is that you can only run Electro character in that spot because the team definitely needs a Electro character, by the way. Yeah, but who is in SNEZHNAYA is going to be replacing Yai herself because Yai's it literally is one of the most strongest sub DPS in the team. She's not even a support, by the way. She's a sub DPS. The kind of like a character that has sacrificed herself to be a power horse for Sandrone herself. She's feeding the power with Electro. So people are mentioning that maybe it could be Danica because Danica could be Electro. Maybe we have no idea. Because we nearly have no idea who else is the Electro character outside of Odette and Alyosha. So from what we know is that someone and somewhere would be needing to be a character, then they would have to be stronger than Yai herself to be doing that. But now we know that Hoyoverse really loves Yai Miko, and people are mentioning currently right now that they don't want to replace Yai. They love their Yai. And nobody wants to replace Yai because they love Yai. So it's kind of a hard situation whether if Yai will actually get replaced because they don't want to. They really love Yai. And if the character like that comes out in the future, that means Yai gets replaced. And they don't want Yai to get replaced because they love Yai. It's Yai. So yeah, just whatever can happen. But Chi-Chi's spot is 1000% getting replaced by Saritsa herself. It's not like this is not like obvious, but it's very obvious for us to notice what's happening right now, and that's the only spot that's available right now. If Odette is gonna take that spot, take the third spot in that team itself, by the way. Yeah. And then yeah, it's true that if you don't have C6 Alyosha, then it's Chi-Chi. That is just a meta, by the way. But if you don't have Chi-Chi built up, you can just go ahead and use Escoffier. If you don't have Escoffier built up, it's Diona. Literally, it works that way, by the way. It's not really like permanent, by the way. Yeah, but it's not that you don't need to go waste your resources on Alyosha because he himself is not going to be permanent either. It's just for 1 or 2 patches until Saritsa comes out. They're gonna make you be like this until Saritsa herself. It's obviously it's Saritsa. Okay, so now let's talk about a little bit more than what we know so far about this information right here, by the way, okay? So we all know that from the linchpin, aka kind of types that SNEZHNAYA actually provided in the information, we know that Vodyanitsa is Hydro, apparently. She's a Hydro Fae. Now, Hydro has nothing to do with Stellar Swirl, neither Stellar Conduct itself. So who is he gonna be for? Now, this is kind of a question right here that most people might have to ask around. Who are you going to put her with, right? If Vodyanitsa is a Hydro, where she's going to go? Stellar Swirl does not want her. Stellar Conduct does not even want her. So where? There's a question mark that leaves SNEZHNAYA itself out of the place. Now, Odette, does people think that Odette will be getting replaced by Saritsa? Now, that could happen, but where would Odette actually go? Because if Odette gets replaced by someone else, then Odette, where she's gonna go, right? What kind of team she's gonna end up? Is she gonna end up with Pentalone? Because leaks actually mentioned that Pentalone could be Rhymegrass or something like that. Now this could be true. Maybe Vodyanitsa might be preparing herself for Rhymegrass. That could be most likely a thing, because you guys might know that Rhymegrass wants Cryo Dendro, but I'm not too sure whether it would be needing Hydro or not. Maybe that could be if you want to do Hyper Bloom in a way, but what's gonna happen with Rhymegrass is Cryo Dendro. Maybe they're preparing a Hydro there that you could use Pentalone and Vodyanitsa together, something like that. I'm not too sure, by the way, right? But the way that we see it is that there's not much options that we have as well over here. That's like so many males on one end, and then if we were to put it with the way that how Genshin loves female characters and they know how they picture the female characters, right? There's only few options here. If Odette is getting replaced, it's by the queen herself, Saritsa. And then Danica on the other hand. Danica could replace Yai. But guys, I'ma say this. They really love their Yai. If Danica gets replaced, by the way, then your Yai has been replaced. Yeah, good luck. I don't think that's kind of a possibility, but I'm not saying that it may not be. Maybe it could be the time where they might think that, okay, yeah, I think we'll let Yai go. They love their Yai. If Yai gets to let go at this time period right now, which most people saying it's impossible, and people are fighting over their life saying that kind of situation, like Yai will not be getting replaced. People love their Yai. If Yai gets replaced, then it's highly like kind of hard to say that it's not going to be possible for Yai to come back ever again, because she's already been buffed. So that's the reason why the Yai will not leave that team, because it's Yai. People love Yai. Yai is a strong character. Someone who's coming out that's gonna replace it. They have to replace Yai herself, and they don't want Yai to be replaced. And we have no idea if the Queen is not gonna replace the last spot. Then who is gonna be? If Odette is getting replaced, then who is Odette is gonna be replaced by? And where would Odette run up? So all these kind of thing is a little bit complicated for SNEZHNAYA, because this is all the characters that we have. Unless they come up with a surprise character for this team, and they come up with a surprise character that not part of this like drip marketing or trailer wise characters, and they end up like what Linia or like Zubai ended up being a surprise character, and they just just surprise us. But why they did that, and why would they be replacing the main SNEZHNAYA lineup itself for no reason like that, right? When where these characters gonna end up? Are they half of them gonna end up in Rhymegrass? So we have no idea. So some of these characters, it's like kind of hard to say though. Yeah, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see you guys all on another one. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.